A special thank you to each of our subscribers who make this channel possible. Here's today's story. In a bold move that could reshape the landscape of international trade, President Donald Trump's administration has turned to the U.S. Supreme Court in a bid to uphold his controversial tariffs. On Wednesday, Solicitor General John Sauer filed a petition requesting an expedited ruling, arguing that a recent lower court decision has already caused significant disruptions in trade negotiations and could undermine the president's authority to impose tariffs. This appeal comes on the heels of a 7-4 ruling by the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Federal Circuit, which determined that Trump had overstepped his authority when he invoked emergency economic powers to impose wide-ranging tariffs. The appellate court, however, allowed the tariffs to remain in effect until mid-October, granting Trump a window to escalate the matter to the Supreme Court. Since reclaiming the presidency, Trump has employed the International Emergency Economic Powers Act to impose reciprocal tariffs on nearly all U.S. trading partners, establishing a baseline tariff of 10% and even higher rates for several economies, including the European Union and Japan. The stakes in this case are monumental, with trillions of dollars in trade hanging in the balance. A ruling against Trump could potentially have the current average U.S. effective tariff rate of 16.3% and might require the U.S. government to refund tens of billions of dollars, according to analysts. The tariffs, which have been a cornerstone of Trump's trade policy, were initially introduced as a means to level the playing field for American businesses and workers amid persistent trade deficits. However, the administration has downplayed the potential impact of the litigation, asserting that many of the tariffs could still be imposed through alternative legal avenues. The appeal also encompasses tariffs imposed on Canada, Mexico, and China, which were defended as necessary measures to combat fentanyl trafficking. The legal battle has emerged from lawsuits filed by Democratic-led states and small businesses, who argue that the president's actions are an overreach of power. The Supreme Court's decision to take up this case could set a significant precedent regarding the extent of presidential authority in matters of trade and national security. The appeals court ruling has already created a cloud of uncertainty over ongoing foreign negotiations and threatened to derail framework deals that the Trump administration has been pursuing. The Justice Department has urged the justices to prioritize this case on their docket, emphasizing the urgent need for clarity on the legal standing of the president's tariffs. The administration is seeking a ruling by the end of the year, which would allow the court to address the case during its current term, which extends until mid-next year. If the Supreme Court agrees to hear the case, it will be tasked with interpreting the 1977 International Emergency Economic Powers Act, which grants the president broad powers to address national emergencies, but does not explicitly mention the authority to impose tariffs. The central question is whether Congress has delegated this power to the president, as the Constitution typically reserves tariff authority for legislative action. The court's decision could have far-reaching implications, not only for the Trump administration, but also for the future of U.S. trade policy and international relations. As the legal battle unfolds, small businesses continue to bear the brunt of the tariffs, with many facing financial strain and uncertainty. Jeffrey Schwab, a senior counsel at the Liberty Justice Center, highlighted the detrimental effects on small businesses, expressing hope for a swift resolution. The revenue generated from tariffs has surged, totaling $159 billion by late August, more than double the amount from the previous year, underscoring the financial stakes involved. As the nation watches closely, the Supreme Court's upcoming decision could either reinforce or dismantle one of the most contentious aspects of Trump's economic strategy, with potential ripple effects throughout the global economy. That's all for this story. We upload videos every day covering many different subjects, so hit that subscribe button to stay informed. Thanks for watching.